We would all rise. Great invocation.
Let's pray. Today, we thank you for your love that you show to us through every situation and season of life. We thank you. We understand every day that lays ahead, and you have a plan and a purpose for us through it. And we just rejoice as that plan and purpose comes to be. We thank you. In Murphysboro, we thank you for the leadership of our community and those servants who serve our community. Make the life can be upon our city in every way. We just pray that you will guide the hearts and guide the minds. Father, when all is said and done, we're just going to stand up and pray for the reality of living as a free people and governing ourselves in this way. And we just ask you to continue to bless. Bless America, bless our nation, and bless each one. Go with us now and have your way. Keep your hand upon us, and we're going to praise you for all you do. And it's in the precious and holy name of Jesus we ask it all. Amen.
Amen.
Alderman Pughes. Here. Alderman Curry-Winston. Here. Alderman Rooney.
Here.
Alderman Austin.
Here.
Jackson. Here. Alderman Hill.
Here.
Alderman Urvis.
Here.
Alderman McCullough.
Here.
Alderman Strack.
Here.
Alderman Glad.
Here.
Your seats.
Here. We have a full count. They do. All right, well, we'll get it. First thing on our agenda from February the 27th, 2024. Entertain any questions or amendments to the minutes at this time. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Glenn.
We have a correction in the order that the minutes are presented. Actually, the roll call was taking place after Mr. Strack was voted in.
That is true. Well, we will make that amendment. Other questions or amendments to the minutes? Is there a motion to adopt the amendment?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion. Commission reports. First, we have budget finance chaired by W.J. Taylor.
Mayor, we have no items under old business. Under new business, we have consideration of accounts payable, accounts receivable, and payroll registers. Anybody have any questions in regards to the bill?
I do have one clarification I want to make on the bills. I don't know if anybody's had a question about it or not, but on the, I believe it's page 8, there was a $4,067 payment to the Illinois State Historic Association for a historic marker for Lawrence Nolan that's going to be dedicated on May the 25th. I just wanted to let everyone know, in case they weren't aware, $1,000 has been contributed towards that from Jackson County government, and so they'll be writing a check to the city of Murphysboro. $200 has been contributed from the Jackson County NAACP in support of that project, and I personally am going to be writing the city a check for $500. So the city's actual outlay on that marker is going to be $567 after we are reimbursed from these various organizations that have come together to support it.
Just ours?
So anyway, I just wanted to mention that.
Okay.
Move approval.
We have a motion to pay the bills. Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is financial statement prepared by Scott Evans. Closed auction, we have one Scott brought us tonight. Scott?
Yep, thank you. that's a good month. So, again, too early to tell. So, and one the state legislature doing away with the and because I've run into a few pitfalls, I guess. They're trying to get a good the groceries and or pharmaceutical part of that would be just doing some what if
Annually?
yeah, annually, yeah. Had a whole story about this. Which annually, that comes from grocery receipt tax. But if you look and so I know Mary they have a big super Walmart plus lots of other things. That doesn't surprise me, So the 150 to 250, 150 to 250 range, more than likely. Until not get, so yes.
During COVID, he eliminated that, and I can kind of remember you trying to calculate it with how much Walmart did in groceries and such.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem like it was a giant big amount that.
And it was. Okay, so if it's close to the Mount Vernon 1.2 million. So it's but yes, if it's less, but you're right, tangibly see the last time this happened.
I guess I would add to that I was talking with Mayor Fatini from here the other day, and some of the conversations he's having is that it's likely if the General Assembly passes this, that it's going to be a phase. The way that it's been suggested would be to institute something that would take effect in the middle of some city's budget year, currently. And so, you would have had town adopt a budget expecting an X amount of revenue, and then the state, your feet, basically 6 months in on January the 1st, 2025. I think there is traction amongst some legislators to say, okay, well, if we're going to do this, we ought to backfill out of the state general fund what, would be lost for some period of time.
Yeah. No,
But who knows?
And if it's $10,000 to $15,000 a month, which is about what that would be, and we stay on the pace that we're at this first 3 months, we're still roughly gonna be at where we were last year. Right.
Say lower taxes, but it ain't your Oxford born.
Yeah. Yeah, so,
So, whatever.
The games that.
Does anybody have any questions for Scott? Thank you, Scott. Last item on our hearing, we can move out of budget.
Thank you, WJ. That takes us to building and grounds, chaired by Mr. Mike Austin.
Thank you, Mayor. We have no old business, we have no new business. Do we have any public comments in building and grounds? Hearing none, Mayor, we can move out of building and grounds.
All right, thank you. That takes us to committee relations, chaired by Ms. Curry Winston.
Thank you, Mayor. We have no old business, and under new business, we have consideration of street closure request for historic marker celebration for Saturday, May 25th at 2024. And I looked over the request form, and everybody is signed but the police chief.
It's signed.
Is good?
Yeah, I was showed today and signed it today.
Okay.
Very positive.
And while we're chuckling, I'll try not to waste my own time.
What is the celebration about?
So this is the Lawrence Nolan, the day we're going to unveil that marker. And there's a family reunion. They now have a block of 48 rooms at the Holiday Inn. Wow. So they're coming in from all over the country. So I was joking with Lawrence Nolan today, the community will never be the same after Nolan's coming in. So anyway, that's where.
Sure could play some music, though.
Okay. Okay, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Nay? Okay, perfect, we have it. Any public comment? Okay, thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Jance. That takes us to public improvement, Chairman Mr. Don Blackman.
Thank you, sir. There's no old business. Under new business, we're going to have a discussion regarding the condition of properties in the 900 block of Locust Street, and I understand, Mr. Mayor, you put this on. So.
I did, and probably will have to some extent. The owner of a adjacent area reached out to me numerous times because the condition of these adjacent buildings have affected her building with open windows upstairs, and there's some water lines that run through these buildings that connect to her building, etc. Looking at the tax status of these properties, it appears that all of these buildings are either currently essentially abandoned for lack of payment of taxes. And so we have 3 large brick buildings adjacent to where, we're hoping to build a new police fire station at City Hall pretty soon, that are going to be caught up in this tax cycle, which oftentimes leads to just continuing deterioration. So with all of that being tell me a little bit more specifically about the individual buildings, where they stand?
Yeah, I pulled the files today. This goes back all the way to 2016. We did notice a demolish or repair then, Eric did. They're all, like I said, all three of them. A couple of them are in limbo and getting ready to get switched over to the new tax buyer. One of them actually has one more year. Two buildings are in real bad shape. The one has a tree growing through it, open through the roof, pushing the front face of the building out. There's a few bricks that have fallen. The other building is not in such bad shape, but that's just from the outside. I haven't been in all three of them, but we flew the drone over, and the roof on the two buildings has holes in it. There's an open elevator shaft. I don't know if they'd be repairable. I think they are.
Are these properties, Charlie, in a situation where the city could purchase them off the tax sale, or?
Actually, is from the Jackson County trustees owned. I spoke with the future purchaser of the taxes, so we're kind of in the works with that one. And then the third one, I haven't gotten a hold of. So I would say within maybe a year, we could acquire them. The city could acquire all three of them.
This the old Legion building?
Yes, people know them as one's, I guess, the Legion building, one is the old Connections building, and I guess the third one was, I don't know what originally, the one that faces
10th Street, yeah. There's two on Locust, 902. Yeah, I think you're right.
They were previously owned by Mitch and John Murphy, who still appeared to have lots of stuff in them.
One of them is owned by somebody different. The Connections building is not owned by me.
Yeah. A while ago, there was one guy was interested in purchasing the building, and he was doing like those purchase a full pallet of stuff from like Lowe's or, you know, like I don't want to call it junk, but and he was going to have run that out of him. And I never did hear back from him. He was going to go inside and look, and so I'm judging from not hearing back from him, it wasn't a wise decision. So that kind of, I started a little bit on it, and then it got fired back up again.
I had somebody come in a few months ago wanting to buy that building, and, I mean, they had been negotiating with somebody. I mean, I can get with you, you know, who,
Yeah.
we can talk about that, and tell you who it is, you know, who I thought had heard that it was.
The action we're starting now is probably the best for the city to acquire all three of them. Talked to the mayor about it, I talked to Richard. The process of buying it from the tax sale is kind of a vicious one. They purchased the taxes for 3 years, which is almost basically 4 years. A lot of times they get a for sale and error on it, and it jumps back to the same 3-year cycle. So you're back to 6 years before anything happens. There's supposed to be some litigation with that. I haven't.
Right, because they come in and buy those taxes, and then once they get 3 years, they go look at the property and say, no, there's no way I want that thing, so they can say, oh, I bought this on accident, you know?
I didn't bring it with me. I forgot to bring the actual amounts, but when we looked it up that day, I think it was probably around $3,000 or $4,000 is what we could potentially get them for.
Well, what eventually happens is, you know, the brown shoe factory is sort of tucked away back there, and it falls in, and we have to do a little bit of this or that to keep it off the street. But I mean, these are just, 10 feet from Locust Street? I mean,
Let's get that.
and we have a lot of parking across the street, you know, behind the post office here, but if we do have a new building, I mean, functionally, I guess you could tear those down and make an employee parking lot or something. So,
You know what it's gonna cost to tear those buildings
down here,
down?
it'd probably be $100,000.
How much?
I don't know how much it would cost, I'm just guessing it'd probably be $50 for it.
I took a drive by there the other morning and shook my head as I drove around, but on the cornerstone of the one on the corner corner of 910 Locust, has a cornerstone from the International Odd Fellows, 1908. Just, I found that interesting. Surprised.
So the county on that now, so they're on the taxes.
Only one of the three.
But I don't think the taxes have been paid on any of them for,
Yeah. And the thing with if we acquire a building from the assessor, from the Jackson County, they require us to demolish it. Can't be for resale, so I think if it's something.
We'll get it, we'll tell them, we'll tear it down, when they tear theirs down across.
I'll be able to catch up on a lot of the houses that we've been wanting to tear down. I think we got like 5 or 6 this year, so if that's the case, next year we won't have as many to tear down unless there's major fires or something, but we could plan for a large demolish like that.
well, does anybody have any other thoughts on the matter? I mean, it would be my suggestion that we preliminarily get some estimates on demolition of those buildings.
Well, and what it would cost for us to get it too,
Right.
because, I mean, if we're not gonna be able to get it for a reasonable price, there's no reason.
Right. But in the meantime, you know, if we're not gonna do that, I think we need to do whatever we can to push the trustee or whomever else to, you know, secure the buildings, because there are open windows above the one on facing 9th Street, I believe it is, or facing 10th Street. And I think that it would be not unreasonable for us to try to secure access to those buildings, because, you know, there are water mains or water lines and whatever that we just recently had to try to assess whether they were froze and busted and filling up the basement.
What about, I mean, we've also, like you said, we've had a demolition order on one of those in the past, correct?
Yeah, all 3 of them actually from 2016, which.
You board the windows up, there's a pigeons on the roof.
Right. I mean, if we got our demolition order, we wouldn't technically have to own the property. Sure.
Would that be the easier route to go? Or try to buy them sometime in the future?
That would be a possibility. So, yeah, we could,
I mean, we don't have the access if we need it for parking or anything like that, but that might be able to get done faster than waiting for them to come due on tax, you know, and
We got it, awesome.
I know that basically like a brick home is about $10,000 to demolish.
so, well, harmful part of that is if they're, I mean, if it really is attached to the salon next door and her water lines are running through, why they.
I don't know that her building would be salvageable on the demolition. There's a party wall between the one building and the other. Yes, right.
So we may not even be able to tear it down without buying her building too, you know, I mean, we don't do that.
Have a city-owned hair salon.
Right.
Me and you could be up there.
Yeah.
Get some numbers together. So Charlie, if you could do that, I think, since city council is up, all right.
Is there any public comment? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. That takes us to Public Works, chaired by Mr. Gary Nicole. Gary?
Well, the second meeting next month to have time for a local contractor to look at it.
Okay.
He's very busy and out of town a lot. You think that work done tomorrow?
Yeah, this is gonna be his last long weekend with wrestling, and he should have a lot more time.
Yeah, so we moved it all the way back to the last meeting next month. Then we might know something on the price and stuff. Right now, we have no prices on clearing that and cleaning it up. And under new, that's, the bids on the culvert, which I think everybody's got a copy. You,
We do have two culvert projects this year. I think Darren culvert and 36 inch, so out of that about 39,000 bid, about 33,000. So anything over 25,000 on your general maintenance or a construction job or anything with IDOT, you have to bid. So materials or work. So we did take bids, and Energy Culvert is the low bidder, which we would use anyway. So and again, it's about 32.5% under our bid or our estimate. So we would certainly recommend that the city award to Energy Culvert.
I'd entertain a motion to move forward with buying these. All in favor? Aye. Nays? Ayes have it. Is there any public comment on public work? Hearing none, Mr. Mayor, we can move out.
Thank you. That takes Public Safety Chair by Mr. John Ernst. John?
Thank you, Mayor. We have no old business, we have no new business. The public comment?
The IDOT meeting today? Yeah, I think so. So IDOT today, myself, Alderman Strack, Alderman Urbis, went and met with representatives from IDOT Carbondale office about the Williams Street and 13 intersection. And I actually brought with me, there's some plans over there, they're big engineering drawings of, their proposal to vary the turn lanes to provide for a better line of sight for, drivers making those turns. But they talked at length about those things that they think would solve the problem. And then basically I said, I still think that, a dedicated green protected arrow is the better way to go. And they, were not really persuaded by that. And I was able to get them to agree that the dedicated green arrow there now, which is only 3 seconds, is not long enough and needs to be extended, and I believe that they are going to do that, and I think it's going to be extended to 5 or 6 seconds. But essentially we came out of that meeting with them saying, and the other thing that they want to do is something they're doing apparently at these intersections is where you have a solid green, where you can turn left across traffic, there is a blinking yellow arrow, which is supposed to alert drivers that you can turn, but, essentially proceed with caution. And they all...
An accident, right?
Yeah, that's even worse.
But, their reasoning for not wanting, the protected greens was they say that, their studies show that just results in more rear end crashes intersections because you have more stoppage of the... I said, well, it would seem like those would be more like property damage crashes and not so much like fatality style, crashes like the ones that we may see in this situation. I don't know, John, am I representing the conversation fairly well?
Yeah, they're talking about a year before that would be built. It does make some sense, but we asked them about making a dedicated green now and then doing that, and they said, no, they won't have a backtrack. The flashing yellow, I've seen those, and they're very confusing. Because the first time I saw it, I thought, well, that means it's about to turn red, so I better turn. Well, that's an accident.
You gotta step on and go.
Yeah. Supposedly. It'd be the first one around here. It'd take a while.
They are very dedicated to their, process and statistics and whatnot. And I told them, I said, well, if if this doesn't become a protected green and somebody gets killed there, like, I'm gonna feel like that's on me. Because like, I'm not apparently communicating clearly enough, like, and I go through that intersection twice a day, 5 days a week. So, I don't know,
Dedicated green range.
no, and they say one of the reasons too, which does make sense, they said that this intersection has a period of time of the day that is busy, and it has a vast period of time of day when it is not. And so you know, why would we want to have traffic there, you know, waiting on dedicated green arrow turns to pass when there's nobody there from 11 p.m. to 4 a.m., like, you know. And so that was when I said, well, is there a way to program where at the busiest times of day, morning, this green arrow is extended? And that's what they said that they would agree to do, would be to extend that dedicated green arrow during the busiest times of day, so as to not impede traffic in the less busy times.
Well, Mayor, what about the intersection at Jackson Square? I mean, is that the same type of intersection that we're talking about out there by Mobile Mart? What? They have a dedicated green arrow.
Yes, the Walmart intersection has a dedicated green arrow. They also talked about how, you know, they didn't want to have too many dedicated green arrows in a short distance along like a 4-lane highway. And they actually said dedicated green at Jackson, that these are all very close together, and so we're creating a lot of, they didn't use the word congestion, but that's basically what they were saying by having all of these green lights where you can't turn across traffic. So
And that's only a 3 to an 8 second difference, so that's 5 seconds that people would have to wait is all it is.
yeah, it's not.
Right, to
I,
dedicate, yeah.
for whatever reason, they really don't want dedicated green arrows.
All this congestion might take us 4 minutes to get out the motor Mart instead.
Right.
Right.
It's all about keeping traffic flow.
It is. Well, that's what they say.
That's what the Division of Traffic Safety in Springfield pushes. It's all about keeping the traffic moving. And they're held to those. So that's why we got the replies we did. Is that why you retired?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is gonna cost a lot more than a dedicated green light.
And yeah, they're gonna put in with pedestrian walkways out there and do all sorts of things, and I think that it's obvious we're looking. We'll make it.
You know,
But-
what bothers me is it took a fatality and a dedicated one there. And that wasn't causing congestion with one too close at that point. That's been, you know, a while ago.
Right.
I just, you know, I would pray that nothing happens before they decide to spend all this money on it.
Well, they said that they had the money programmed to do all of that, and that it would be construction.
Trouble with it, you can't fix keeping, that's how a lot of people drive.
Well, yeah.
You know,
That's true.
they speed up. And then somebody pulling out, and they're like, and it's just.
Well, they're coming into town going 62. That's,
Well, and these were all Murphysboro people, representatives from IDOT that we were meeting with. They were all very familiar with the intersection. All said they go through all there all the time, and all said they understand the problem. So I mean,
We just don't like the way they understand it.
you know, I'm willing to go back to them and tell them again that, you know, the city council believes that the better solution is dedicated green arrows. But ultimately, I don't think, Darren, can you go out there and just change that light? I mean,
utilities too, right?
Oh, that's an interesting point.
You done the,
Time and money already, working this up. I mean, it's not.
When a vehicle is sitting there wanting to turn?
So it's waiting.
So just goes on to the east-west driving?
They did not, and I did not have the foresight to bring that up.
I mean, that,
That,
I don't believe those work. If you go heading, if you're like heading north there on William Street at
Yeah,
340.
I'll follow up with that suggestion, Chief. I don't think there's anything,
Pay the maintenance.
I call it, yeah, that it's a loop sensor, but whatever.
Not that that'll change anything.
Motorcycle tractor, turn it.
all right, well, that's the update on how that goes. And you're welcome to peruse those plans. I didn't end up for everybody in their opinions, like you said.
5 seconds? 2 cycles.
Well, I also brought up the long-standing issue at South William Street at Old 13, where we have essentially a disputed apron, who's supposed to take care of this. And they said, well, and I don't know what the acronym stands for, they said JT'd that area to the city the last time that we repaved the JT Blankenship, is that what it stands for?
No.
And I said, well, then you need to find the paperwork that
Jurisdictional transfers for what I'm imagining.
that says that. And then when I said, well, I need to see the proof, they said, well, we think that's what happened. I'm not 100% sure. We'll see if we can find it. And so they're gonna look for that. And if it is indeed ours, then I think we need to have it striped properly and figure out who we need to pay to have it striped properly or whatever.
So
Because-
the 3 lanes in there.
Well, right. And I already looked at it, which tells me that at some point it was their jurisdiction.
Yeah, so-
They had already looked at it, and it's not big enough to stripe under their guidelines.
Right.
So that's the reason why it's been left the way it is.
But they said it was all, and they quarreled with what we did.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's outside the city limits. So I don't think they could have deeded it to us.
Right.
well, it's funny when they wanted to take the bridge.
Roads go through town.
You're right, because Carrie's is not inside.
I would say,
But it's still a city street, right? I mean, we have other city streets outside city
At
limits.
that point, and it would end at the point. That intersection is counted. See?
A little bit later,
It's zoned under the mile and a half zoning in that area. It's
I'm sorry, Chief.
At that intersection.
going back to the county.
Okay.
And both adjacent properties are showing MPS fire district. So
So I'm sitting there arguing with IDOT. Okay. Well, for having nothing. All right. That takes us to personnel chaired by Ms. Barbecue.
I bet we can get through this fast. Thank you, Mayor. There's no old business and no new business unless there's an employee or public comment on anything with personnel. I think we can do it. Thank you.
All right, under the mayor's report, I've been kicking around this video gaming ordinance and talking to different aldermen about it. I know there's all sorts of various levels of support for doing something here, so for lack of, well, today I sat down with a zoning map, and the primary complaint I've gotten over time about the video gaming parlors specifically, for instance, Chance's Lounge, and it's very close to residential, and, you know, some of those residents complaining about, you know, people parking and noise and whatever emanating from there at, you know, late hours. I've gotten a lot of complaints about the one that went in just behind the courthouse recently from the various businesses adjacent there, from the Title and Abstract Company. Scott Maloney told me specifically, you know, anytime you want to say that I'm complaining a lot about it, feel free to tell them I'm the one complaining. So one thought I had was that we could essentially limit any new expansion of video gaming parlors to business 2 zoning, which includes places like Jackson Square. The area around, I think, Boss Truck Service is business 2. I would need to, you know, obviously supply a map for the aldermen to look at what those various...
Isn't that surrounded by residential?
Some of those are, and I think that, you know, the other thing that you could possibly do would say that, you know, it cannot be within 100 feet of residential or something like this. Because I get complaints from Main Street, from residents, goes in close to residential, or every time another one is proposed for basically Walnut Street in downtown. So that's my sort of thought. Barb?
Advocate that if we look on our receipts, we got $12,000 last month. This is not an insignificant amount of money that we could be turning down. I'm not really pro or con, I'm just kind of middle of the road. I think we have to consider, I mean, during COVID, for example, we had been running about $10,000 a month, and then all of a sudden it was gone because they were closed. Now then it's back up $10,000 or $12,000 a month all the time. That's money. That doesn't mean we can't limit it. I just think we shouldn't consider eliminating it completely. Personal opinion. It's free money. And yeah, I know it causes a lot of problems, and there's a lot of addicted gamblers out there, and that breaks my heart. But it also pays some bills.
Well, if they don't get a liquor license, they can't get the machine.
That is
can they?
You know, it's not that easy license just because I don't think that somebody would have a liquor license. So long as they meet the various state criteria, and if I, because, you know, they're tied to match, then, you know, they can appeal it and I'll lose every time.
No, well.
John?
Is there a way to make, what I guess you're talking about the parlors that are basically just a gambling place as opposed to a restaurant or a bar or a machine? Is there a way to limit those, or?
Well, one possibility would be to create a specific license for video gaming parlors and then just cap the number of those that we issue. That's what Carbondale does.
Silver's House of Cakes got one, go in there and buy
I know,
beer.
it's ridiculous. I don't even go in there anymore. It's like that.
You can't get a beer in there.
Yes, sir.
If the liquor license
Well, we would essentially issue a liquor license, yes, to the existing ones, Or perhaps we could build in some, headroom above whatever there is now, if the council so
But if
decides.
there was no liquor license, then there were possibilities of a gaming license.
Correct, because the state requires a Class A liquor license to have a,
It would have
And if we
My issue with that or cap, ones that, that we allow gaming parlors is, me, if I feel like I could start a business and make money, you're not telling me it's not okay to have those in town, you're just telling me I didn't decide fast enough. And it's all right for all these other people to make money, but it's not allowed, I'm not allowed to make money because didn't decide when they did that I want to do that. And that's the only problem I have with it. I mean, if you're just in 2022, there were 55 machines. There was roughly $35 million played in those machines. And that counts money that's not money that's stuck in, that's money played. So if they won some and then played that back, that's counted in that 35 million. In 22 machines, so there was over a 10% increase in the machines that were there. There was $35 million played in those machines. So that same money is going to these separate, different parlors. Will go into all these places.
WJ, I've mentioned this to you before, just because you add a liquor license to the town, it doesn't create new drinkers.
Right.
And not create new gamblers.
Yeah.
Because you're only going to get so much out of this town. And all that you do when you supply another area to gamble is you're just spreading out the pie.
Well,
So-
that's what WJ just saying. Whether it's a new place or one of the old places.
Well, I think one of the reasons why the people that complain to me are so passionate about it is because essentially, if you are living on XYZ Street in Murphysboro and your home value is $60,000 and the little building next to you, used to sell antiques and now it is a video gaming parlor, your investment has been impaired by this development. People are sincerely and righteously frustrated when, these expansions happen in certain areas because it diminishes their quality of life. And, now, can we preserve everyone's quality of life in the city of Murphysboro to perfection, through government ordinances? No, I'm not suggesting that. I'm just suggesting that as mayor, it is my job when I, not to bring every complaint, to revisit these things as I get new complaints. And I've told everybody all along that I have not ever really felt like there was grand support amongst the council to really limit these developments. But I've got, so trying to address it.
Some kind of ordinance where they have to have so much of their money off the side of the machines. If you're opening up a bar, you have to make so much money off your bar to have a machine.
Yes.
I mean, that machines, if the girls that have the bakery here in town wanted the machines in a liquor license, they'd have to make money off the alcohol too, rather than just have the machine and a beer in the back.
Well, and there are cities that limit video gaming parlors by saying that, well, Richard, you had outlined, I think you might be able to describe that exactly, so much revenue has to be derived from the sale of alcohol.
Right, I've seen it defined in two different ways. One, video gaming parlor is one that derives its primary income from video games. such as you derive 51% of your income from video games. That makes it a video gaming parlor. They have a separate license for the video gaming parlor as to the license for a bar.
I mean, if we did that, I mean, I think even when you and I talked that last time, I thought if we're really wanting to do something, changing our liquor license or whatever that would be for gaming parlors would be the way to go about it instead of capping. I'm not opposed to, hammering them on the fee. If we could make a separate fee for gaming parlors, and make a gaming parlor license, and that's where, we want to make that a lot higher than it is for what a regular alcohol is, and that's what, I wouldn't be opposed to that, I just don't want to say that you are over here, we don't want to, we don't want you to do that, is the way I feel about that part of it. And
John's been trying to get in.
Between liking and disliking the parlors, because on the one hand, I don't necessarily want to go to a restaurant and have people gambling while trying to eat. On the other hand, it's maybe a good thing to have them, because then those folks are going somewhere, so they're not necessarily going, to where I'm trying to get a meal or at a bar or whatever. So I'm kind of torn between whether the parlors are a good thing or a bad thing.
And as far as places like, I mean, you can't tell me that the gaming parlor out, across from the courthouse gets as much traffic as Brews Brothers does. But we don't have any problem with Brews Brothers selling alcohol and people standing outside and people, standing out there and being loud and smoking cigarettes and doing whatever they do outside of the bar. But because that place has gaming and that's where they get most of their income, we have a problem with it. I don't think, as far as decreasing property values and all that, I don't know. I mean, that may be people's feeling, but I don't know that that's the actual case, as far as those properties around like a place like the courthouse. But we've all rats that are back in the residential area. We've had issues with them before, and we don't have a problem with river rats as an establishment,
We've never had a problem with the gaming. We only have had a problem.
Well, this is a difficult needle to thread, because there's a lot of different ways you can do it, and I'm not really hearing any consensus.
Well, I'm interested to look at
he said he'd be interested in something zoning map. I will provide, Charlie, do you have a zoning map that isn't the size of the council chambers?
Yes, I talked to Brian a little bit about it, get one that we can maybe zoom in and out on, and
if we get one that we could highlight the B2 area.
yeah, and I actually got one from Blankenship that I like, that's color mapped. It's different, each zone is a different color, so it's easier for me to read than dotted lines.
Okay. If we could provide that for everybody, then we could maybe continue this discussion at a future meeting.
I mean, there's not a bar in town, residential area.
Sure.
I mean, most all of them in town, you have them on 3 on the east side, you had them on the west side.
Oh, yeah.
You had them on the north.
Mayor, let me just say, I'm not wanting to cap. But all I was saying was, as long as you have available liquor license, you still have the potential. I'm not wanting to cap.
I'm not.
Understood. All right, well, under the mayor's report, I also have the consideration of appointment of Tammy Williams to the Logan Library Board, and I did provide, I think, a letter from her. She has, I think, a great experience, 21 years as the librarian. Would just make perfect sense for her.
I'll make that motion.
Rick's had
Yeah, just my brother's, one of my brother's best friends.
Yeah. Well, I think so.
John,
That takes me to council member requests, so go to Ms. Hughes.
I have nothing, thank you.
I don't have anything, Mayor, thank you.
Mr. Rundle.
I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Austin.
I have nothing, Mayor, thank you.
Ms. Jackson.
I'd like to open up the gaming parlor.
She's on JD's.
Our new building.
That's good.
all together.
I'll be there.
I have a problem.
Should not be able to go off.
We got a second. Yeah, down
Yeah.
at senior, it starts
About 8
at
hours
6, then goes to
People that
7.
take,
One of the
we're
funnest
usually
things I ever did.
somewhere around the house. And it starts at 11,
Yes.
so we need to be there by 11.
Right.
That's what.
That's all I had. We'll meet tomorrow.
All right, thank you, Gary. Mr. Strack.
Yes, last meeting, so includes activities in Murphysboro, and Big Money Brewing's going to have activities at their place starting on Friday, April through. Folks from Adler Planetarium in Chicago come down and do the Galaxy Ride presentation. It was really popular last year. In conjunction with that, they're going to partner with Bruce Brothers, and they're going to have a free shuttle bus that's going to run from Friday evening all the way through Monday. That's going to go from their place uptown and to some of the local restaurants in town here. Hopefully some folks can take advantage of that, and that's all I have.
They're having something out of St. Nicholas too, I think.
I think a lot of places are having it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be a
Well, about at 7:15, I think a band and stuff. You know, they got a big. Tell them where you want to go and what you want to do.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
We have a full house tonight. Everybody's here.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've done it.
Roll out the barrel.
There you go.
All right, that takes us to department head requests. Attorney Blake.
Nothing to report.
All right, Ms. Ripley.
If anybody needs Eclipse glasses, I have plenty.
All right. Mr. Evans.
Nothing tonight, sir.
All right. Chief McBride. Chief Elmeyer.
A couple months ago, I told you guys we'd put in for another grant for police officer recruitment and retention at the amount of $307,000, and we found out last week that we were granted that grant. So I'll give you more specifics in the future when we can put more out about it. Pretty good
Deserves the credit
situation.
for that, Chief?
What's that?
I said, who deserves the credit for that?
Ashley Etherton's the one that completed the grant. Done a really good job on it. We worked on it together, and she did all of the, all of the main work on it, so.
Great.
Pretty good deal for the people.
Mr. Mayweather.
I have nothing, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Shepherd.
I just want to point out, we own the oil and chip program on March 28th at 10 a.m. Probably the all-time record, earliest we've ever opened bid for oil and chipping, so
All right.
the weather will probably turn on us, so.
Ms. Bob. Mr. Lee.
Yeah, update on the Well Street. Harold and I completed the application today to get moving on the Well Street, which is the base for the ridge road. And then I already ordered the pipe for that as well. We took delivery on that today, so as soon as we get permission to start, we'll get moving on it. Also, you may have received in your water bill a survey, which you may or may not. So I'm going to give a little information on that in case you have citizens that might ask you about it. It's a standard survey for cross-connection control that we've sent out of our office in the past. But included in this survey is an inventory survey as well, which is normally they were concerned what was in the house as far as your plumbing or whether the chemicals you're at. Now they're actually asking for what the water service line material is from your water meter to your home. So I just wanted to let you know if my office is open to any questions on that, or you can direct them, but it might help you better to explain to your citizens that you might get questions about.
If you get your water bill by email, how do you get that survey?
It's a good question. We will, I can talk about that.
I can personally email you one, or...
Oh, I don't necessarily want it, I don't know how many people you have that get by email, and, they're not going to have the advantage of doing that, or the disadvantage of doing it, I don't know which is.
Well, we can comprise a list
Of people,
of people who
I just
are
didn't know if you thought
email.
about, get,
Yeah, therefore they'll only receive a survey as well. Yeah, we'll get taken care of. So that's good catch, I'll catch that. That's all I have.
All right, Mr. Iser? Nothing. Mr. Gladstone? Nothing. Mr. Mills? Nothing. Yes.
I forgot to bring this up, but we've got our new folder. I would like, we used to follow for the city, but I would like to see Darren or Charlie get hold of City Avian and see if they want to buy our old one.
Oh, okay.
And we can bring it up on another meeting, declare surplus property.
I have, I assume Candace Cotter is still the mayor there? Pretty sure.
She is.
Is she? Okay. I mean, I could reach out to her and just,
It's taking up very little space down there, but if we can sell and get some money back in on the new one,
Okay, all right. Sandra jotted a note for me, and I'll try to reach out to Candace Cotter.
Got something up with Sandra's arm?
Yep. The only notes that get remembered are the ones. We have an session on the council agenda this evening that I had prepared to use to discuss an item that I appreciate our city attorney today who reminded me that it really isn't something that can be discussed in an executive session. And it is the consideration of, a sort of readjustment of the mayor's position, the mayor's job description, the mayor's salary, etc. And so I can either essentially turn it over to the council if they wish to discuss this at this time, or if we wish to just table this and put it on the next agenda for formal discussion as something on the agenda. We welcome that as well. Really makes no difference to me. I don't know, Janice or so.
Wouldn't we have to publicize this? So shouldn't this be in the next meeting?
Well, there wouldn't be any action taken. I wouldn't.
Just for discussion.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Right, I'm not asking for that.
okay, so it's regarding salary and our job description?
There have been, yes.
And what are the other things that you want to bring out?
Well, that's really it.
That's really it. Maybe it would be nice if we all have, and we should know it, but I wouldn't mind having the job description.
Sure.
And I know that you're paid X amount and then you're paid X amount for like the liquor.
Right.
And all that. I'd like to have that breakdown. I'm sorry, it's an old brain.
No problem.
But if we had that, then we could have it actually on the agenda next time. We would have a chance to review it and or ask questions among ourselves or to you for that matter.
We can do
If you're
that.
okay with that, that's my preference. That doesn't mean that's everyone else.
Well, has the city of Murphysboro ever had a full-time mayor that anybody knows of on salary?
When we, WJ, when we were researching that a few years, remember that?
I don't think the city has.
I don't think the city, I think we figured out the city never had a full-time.
Well, and then we're going down on the amount of people we got in the city.
Yeah.
You know, we was at one time 10 or 11,000, now we're under 8,000. And
I
we
mean, and Gary thought about that too, but you could look at that two ways. Maybe if we're trying to grow, maybe that's the time that you need somebody that's more dedicated and can put in a full-time, more hours to help the city grow too. And I don't know that, you can, it's both sides of that. You can say we need it more now than we have in the past because we need to grow and.
Yeah. I'd like to pull out my notes from when we tried to analyze that before too, just to have some.
Well, we all.
Yeah.
I mean, we got. We got new clothes there where, the video plays for us and the and, we just get the people to shop. Big difference too, Not a shop, You can ask.
Mr. Gladden?
I may suggest over and have an executive meeting. The next meeting,
Yes.
okay. Put it on the agenda for next week.
Let me ask this question to the council. Is there anyone opposed to reviewing and advancing the position and the salary? No?
I mean, I think when you and I talked, Mike, if we, I think I'm not opposed to it, but there are ways that I
agree with WJ. There are things that we did a pretty thorough study of the last time, and things change in those periods of time, but about making the position a full-time position, and I don't even know if that's what we're asking for sure, if we're just asking for an increase in wage and or some of the job descriptions. I just want clarification on that before we move on, and that doesn't mean I'm opposed to any of it.
Understood.
In my with clear conscience, I can't vote to have a full-time mayor, but in the discussion, we need to find out how much are you going to require the mayor's office. And
Couldn't go in until, May of 2025 or March of 2025?
Right, and anything that has to do with any elected official in the state of Illinois has to be done 6 months previous.
Previous to that election, to the next election.
but I'll stand. I have nothing personal against him. It's just something the city has never had, even when they had 10,000 people. That majority of to do, but
This will be a little unusual, and I hope that the council would understand. There is a part of me that if this discussion is going to be had I would like to not be in the council chamber. I don't want anyone to feel any certain way, because I think just my presence, just sitting here, to some extent changes the way that people can honestly talk about the issue.
Shouldn't be, probably.
I mean,
It doesn't for me, but.
And so, I mean, that's something I've thought about. Because it's my opinion that there are a lot of people on this council that would be good mayors. There's people sitting out at these tables that would be great mayors, and people in this community would be great mayors. And it's really about the volume of communication that you have to deal with. That's like the thing. It's not like I'm so much better mayor than some other mayor in Southern Illinois. It's just a matter of the amount of communication and the amount of email and all this type of stuff. And I'm just constantly like triaging communication. And then
when Ron Williams was mayor and when he worked at the bank, and when Ron Williams was no longer mayor, our call volume dropped by about 70%.
Yeah,
And that's not always Donnie, that's not an exaggeration, I mean, that's 100% true. Ron Williams, and that's because Ron didn't have a cell phone or Facebook that he, like he checks as much as, sure, so I know you're all the point, you're the one that's, and there's some, it's a time-consuming position.
It's 2024, there's nothing wrong with us considering having a full-time mayor, especially when we have someone that is in office that, is doing the work.
Right.
And I go back, parameters are fine.
I've got people who want to get into the discussion, but I've got some other, I also want to keep in mind, that every discussion we need to think about talking about,
Right.
Yes.
because there's nothing that said, we learned in the past, we don't in jail for a year and still get the check.
Right.
Yeah,
So
right.
it doesn't matter what that, who's the mayor, we should have to give that salary regardless. So I think, that's gotta be a part of that discussion, is what happens 20 years from now, and what happens on your.
I don't know about that gambling place.
Yeah, I just like to have that information, but I'm gonna dig into my files and look at what we assessed last time. Those things are all changed.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Mr. McCoy, this motion adjourns at 7. Oh, yeah.
5, 6, 4.